right now, many of you just saw me light a cigar. About half of you are screaming, "Oh my God, what are you doing to your body? Oh my God, why are you smoking? That's horrible for you. Why are you doing that?" Because in a free country, I can. And that's kind of what I've wanted to talk to you about. We're not really in a free country anymore. And you better smoke while you got 'em. You might enjoy what liberties you do have left, because they're being knocked away left and right by our Congress and our president. And not just this president, but presidents past. It's just happening at a quicker rate now. So, I want you to take a moment and reflect, pause if you have to, and think about what freedom is to you. So how dare you smoke a cigar, smoke anything? It's horrible. Well, that's part of the problem. We use the government to enact what we think other people should be doing. And this happens for more than just tobacco, I might add. It has to do with alcohol, our sex lives, our marriage, what we do in our homes, what we do with our families, what we do with our children. It springs to everything. What it comes down to is that we cannot, as a society, mind our own business. So we go to the government, and we ask the government, "Please, government, do something about these people that have nothing to do with me at all. They're doing something I don't like in their home far away from me. Will you please do something about it?" Well, that's not freedom, and that's not liberty. Taking liberty away from somebody else and giving it to another is slavery. It's not freedom. So, all these laws that have been instituted on everything from marijuana to gay marriage to contraceptives and the other hot button issues of the day, which are used to confuse and distort and anger the populace and keep them fighting amongst themselves, it's irrelevant. It's really not freedom whenever you go to the government and tell them, "Please do something about these people." That's not freedom. You have the freedom to live your life the way you want to, without harming another person. That's it. As you see, here I am, smoking a cigar, in my car, outside, not harming anybody. And yet right now there is legislation in place that's going to tell you that you cannot smoke in your own yard. Where does it end? And I think it really comes down to the fact that a lot of us, the reason we can't keep out of other people's business is because it's infectious. One person says, "You can't do that." And so you get mad and you turn around and say, "Well, you can't do this." It's argumentative. It's what keeps people arguing amongst themselves, between left and right or whatever issue or group it is. Keeps them arguing so that the government can institute more laws and take away your freedom. They'll say, "Well, okay, we'll take freedoms away from the left. We'll take freedoms away from the right. That's fair, right? That's democracy, right?" Democracy is two wolves fighting over a lamb, deciding what's for dinner. The 49% don't get a say over the 51% that do. And the 51% could very well be wrong. Just because a majority votes it does not necessarily mean that it was the right decision. It just means that more than 50% decided for it. So, what I am beseeching all of you is to take a moment and analyze your life right now. See where there isn't any freedom in your life, where it's been taken away from you. and then reach towards what you would probably consider your enemy and embrace them. Understand that you are both Americans. You are both citizens of this country. Let the arguments stop. We have opinions. All of us do. It doesn't mean that the government has to be wrapped up in every single argument that the populace has. I mean, I could go on about specific events, what my feelings and positions are, but that's irrelevant to this conversation. What's important is that we, as a people, need to get together, Republican and Democrat, gay and straight, left and right, black and white, Hispanic, whatever, religious, non-religious. And we need to understand that the arguments that they've been causing between us has all been to keep us busy. It's part of the whole enslavement process of the government. While they take a liberty away from, like, say, the gay people, so that they can't get married, they're taking away rights from you as well. And they do it in every sector, and they have you constantly arguing amongst yourselves, when you need to realize that the government is passing laws right now that are taking away massive rights. The Indefinite Detention Act alone makes it possible for the government to come in, take you, your family, label them terrorists, take away this citizenship, and take them to an undisclosed place indefinitely without trial, without warrant, and without ever knowing what your crime was. Now, to me, that is more important than most of the issues out there. Because if that government can do that to you, it can do it to anybody. It can do it to left, right, any kind of issue, Republican, Libertarian, Democrat, it doesn't matter. Conservative, liberal, gay, straight, religious, non-religious, they can come and drag you out of your home. And then it doesn't matter what you believe anymore. It doesn't matter because they have already taken the right away from you. Now they're trying to pass a bill where you're unable to protest near a government official. Now let me plead my case. Consider the civil rights movement during the mid-1900s, whenever there was movements for civil rights in the black community with Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. Now think, if they were unable to protest around government officials, if they were able to be labeled terrorists just because they were protesting, what do you think the outcome of that civil rights movement would have been? It wouldn't have gone the way that it did. And that's the awful truth. Right now, the government is in the middle of so many different acts and bills to limit your liberties. Just the basic rights that were given to you just by being born, that were enumerated in the Constitution. Those rights are steadily being taken away under your nose. They've tried to do something with the internet, with the SOPA Act, and there was a huge response to that. But there's not as much of a response right now to these things that are happening. The NDAA Act and the Patriot Act. I mean, I can't believe it. Barack Obama had said that he would repeal it, that he thought it was crazy. But he instituted it for another term. He signed off on the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, the same act that has the indefinite detention bill. And he said, as he signed it, that it could very well be used to take away your freedoms, and it could be used against American citizens. Those were his words. That's not hype. You can look them up. You can research them. And I bid every single one of you to do so. If you have any doubt about anything that I'm saying, look every single thing that I am saying up and prove me wrong. There are many states right now that are fighting the National Defense Authorization Act. 9 of them right now. And I just found out this morning that one of our counties in North Carolina are actually doing so. And I am so happy about that. And I hope others will do so as well. But if there's anything that you get out of this conversation, more than anything else, please let it be that the American people can no longer afford to be separated. We can no longer continue to think that I am a Republican, that I am a Democrat, that I am a liberal, that I am a gay, that I am a straight, that I'm black, that I am white, that I'm Asian, that I'm Hispanic, that I'm religious, that I am not religious. We cannot allow those boundaries that the government and the media have helped build between us any longer. We cannot allow it. We cannot afford it. This government is very quickly on the road to being the tyrannical government that our founders mentioned in the Federalist Papers. We cannot afford to let them separate us any longer. We are the people. We are the people. Say it to yourself. We are the people. We are the citizens of America. Congress is beholden to its people. The president is beholden to the people. We are not a nation of laws. We are a nation of free men and women. Laws take away liberty. We are free men and women. We are not a nation of laws. And if you feel the same way, it is behooving to you to go and look this information up. There's plenty of information out there. All you have to do is begin to search for it. It says in the Bible, seek and ye shall find. We cannot afford to be separated any longer. We are American citizens. We need to protect each other because our government isn't. It is using the premise of terrorism to lay war against the Constitution itself. Barack Obama has stated that he considers the Constitution to be an irrelevant document. George Bush did the same thing. And there are many other senators out there and congressmen that believe the same thing. Do you want people working for the government that are supposed to be working for the people believing that our Constitution is garbage? They had said before they went into Iraq that they hate us for our freedom. And yet I say that the Congress, the Republicans and the Democrats, all of the politicians in Washington hate our freedoms. And that is why they are trying to limit them as quickly as possible. Whenever a law is made, liberty is taken away. Plain and simple. And if they believe that this is a nation of laws, they will continue to make laws, which means by making laws, whether they're constitutional or not, the more laws that they make, the more liberties they take away from you, me, your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your daughters, everybody. We have to set aside our differences. We have to say enough is enough. We have to lay down the axes and pitchforks and torches that the government and the media have put in our hands to rail against each other with. And it is time for the American people to rise up and say with one voice to the government that the Constitution is important to us. Our freedom is important to us. And you will not take away our Constitution. You will not take away our freedoms. And you will be beholden to us, because if you do not, then you can vacate those seats as quickly as you were put in them. Now, I'm not going to tell people how to vote, because that would be limiting freedom as well. I can tell you how I'm going to vote. For there is only one person that I have seen, and only one person in the candidacy right now that believes as I believe, that wants us to be free, who believes in the Constitution and has the fire in his belly to bring it about, and that is Ron Paul. And I support him, and I will use every effort in my means possible to make sure that he's elected. I do not believe the lies of the media. I don't believe the scoffing of the government towards him and his cause and his people. He's staying in the race. That tells you that he believes that he can strongly win. And I believe it too. I've put my money where my mouth is. I have made videos. I have made numerous postings on any kind of site that I can, trying to get the word out, try to get the message out, try to talk to as many people as I can possible. But only I have a certain reach. And come the day that there's a presidential election, I will write his name in. And there are many others like me, other Ron Paul supporters, that if he doesn't win the candidacy, we will write his name in. And I ask as many of you as possible to make that same pledge, that if he does not, for some reason, win the candidacy for the GOP nomination, that you will sign his name in the presidential election. But how is that possible? Why are we able to do that? Because it is still a freedom that we can do. There are people that are so disenfranchised with the voting process, and I understand. I feel you. I understand how you feel. I've seen the videos out there. I have seen the evidence of the voter fraud that has taken place numerous times, not just in elections with Barack Obama. Let's not just put it into that kind of framework. It has happened for the last couple of elections. Let's be honest with each other. It has. We know it has. But then we allow ourselves to go back to sleep again. Well, there's people that have gone and found proof that it has happened, that votes have been taken away, erased, defrauded, not counted, thrown away. And there's proof out there. Again, prove me wrong. Look it up. It's there. Actual visual proof. Not something that's just written, scrawled on the wall of some website. Actual video proof out there that these things have happened. So, why play by their rules? Sign his name in. I reach out to every American, whether you are Republican, Democrat, or Libertarian. Change your affiliation, at least just for this year. You can change it back again. Vote for Ron Paul. If you believe as I believe, and you see the things that I see, vote for Ron Paul in this election. Vote for him in the GOP candidacy. Vote for him for president. Change can happen. And as I am often to say, I much rather vote with a ballot than vote with a gun. Because that is what our Second Amendment right was for. Not just for hunting, not just for the militias, which are constitutional, but it's the last check and balance against a government that is out of control. But I'd much rather vote with a ballot than with a gun. But if things keep going the way they are, we might not have that many choices left. That's why I'm voting for Ron Paul. Because I believe enough in the process that it can happen. Think about it. If every single one of us voted that hated the administration the way they've gone, all the promises they lied about, all the things that they said to us that they were going to do, we know they lie. They lie all the time. Most people complain about it. Most people are upset with the government. But if every single one of us that believed in the Constitution and what it stands for, and the freedoms it represents, and the liberties that are in our hearts and in our minds, and we voted for this man, and then the numbers wound up being slantedly wrong, how upset would that make you? How angry would you feel to know that your vote did not count, or that they changed it? I mean, sure, they can manipulate numbers, but they can't manipulate the numbers that we have. And I've said they don't have the numbers to vote for the GOP candidacy without the Ron Paul supporters. But this is my last hope. This is my last hope in the process that was set in motion back in 1776, that we can make change in this country. We can regain our freedoms. It'll mean changing our mindset. It'll mean making the media beholden to its people instead of to the government and the corporations that own it and the government. The lobbyists, the corporations, the big business, those are a lot of the reasons why this country is where it is right now. And it's getting worse. It won't get better. Not without some significant change. And the change won't happen all at once. But it can, and it will, if we vote for Ron Paul. Now, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my cigar. I hope all of you have a wonderful day as well, and that you seriously consider what I have said to you today. Think about it. Research. Look into it. This is more important than anything that has happened in recent years, within the last century. And it's being so quietly snuck across desks and quietly spoken about, not giving the kind of coverage that it indeed needs. So, we have to, in good conscience, seek out the information because it is there. Have a good day.